The Rocky Mountain West, America's playground and home to the Easton Archery Center in Salt Lake City. The world is welcome here. Archers from around the globe enjoying some Western hospitality at the first outdoor World Cup event conducted in the United States since 2012. That hospitality did not keep some fierce competition from flaring up in the blazing desert sun. The heat and the wind forcing everyone to focus on each arrow, trying not to look ahead to the next match, the next opponent. But deep down inside, all harbored hopes of taking their place on the podium at Stage 3 of the 2017 Hyundai Archery World Cup Tour. So many memories from the tour's most recent trip to Turkey and Konyaaltı Beach. Archers braving the breeze coming off the sea. Of course, there were plenty of high fives. And as always, the competition was intense, to say the very least. It's all part of the equation for those who plan to podium. In recurve, the woman who's risen above the crowd and emerged from a packed field is Korea's Chong. I really wasn't thinking about shooting a world record or anything like that, but I ended up shooting my personal best, so I was really happy about that.
제 스스로 최고 기록이니까 기분이 좋아요.
I shot that score and I had no expectation that I would come in first. But the men's team came up to me and said, I did very well. I feel as though for future and current competitions, I've reached a new level.
많은 경기를 통해서 한층 더 성장된 것을 제 스스로 느낄 수 있기 때문에 너무 좋았던 것 같아요.
In Rio, I really tried to just enjoy the event. That gave me confidence. Coming to World Cup events this year, I feel like that confidence has given me some sort of an advantage.
월드컵에 있어서 좀 영향이 있지 않나 그런 자신감이 좀 많이 업됐어요.
Chong would need that advantage in the Stage 3 gold medal finale. Sure, she's the reigning Olympic gold medalist from Rio, and yes, she was ranked number 2 in the world coming to Utah. But Tan Yating is not in awe of anyone. Chinese Taipei's emergence began with Tan, who shot against the best and beaten the best on many occasions. So, it's no mystery she's ranked 6th in the world. All that being said, Chong does have 7 more years of experience on the world stage, and she brought all that to bear right from the start, processing the information gained from a high 9 on her opening shot. Tan Yating had even more info to process, getting off to a shakier start. Adjustments would be made by both women. The queen of Korean recurve drifting left on her next shot, with Ms. Tan taking the same cues, landing in just about the same area. This exercise of trial and error eventually would pay off for Ms. Chong, allowing her to secure the first set, staking Korea to a 2-0 lead in this all-important match. Tan Yating also found the path to enlightenment. Yes, her opening 8 left her 1 point short, but now she had a better feel for how to play this chess match. That much seemed apparent on the first shot of the second set, Tan touching the 10 line. She appeared to be dialed in. So did Miss Chong, whose mental game is as strong as anyone's. Tan's mental game would be tested too when her next arrow pierced the 9 ring, which is where Chong parked her next arrow. Second set tied at 19. Given a reprieve, Tan Yating fails to capitalize. Now she's in danger of falling further behind, and she would have had Chong jumped on that miscue. Instead, the two split the set, and while the score changed, the lead remained at 2. On to set 3, Miss Tan still trying to zero in, while her opponent took the lead in this set. Now it seemed the more Tan tried to hit the 10 ring, well, She wound up even further from her intended target. It all seemed to come easier for Chong Hae-jin. No, she wasn't perfect, but she was in the right neighborhood. Ms. Tan finally found the right address for her final arrow of the third set, but the damage had been done. Ms. Chong didn't have to shoot for the moon, just the gold circles. Set 3 went to Korea as the lead grew to 4 in a match expected to be much tighter. Now, Tanya Ting is a product of Taipei, but has more of a type B personality, so she stays calm in the face of adversity. And that would pay dividends. It's one arrow at a time, one set at a time for Ms. Tan, who almost got the break she needed. Chong Hae-jin barely breaking the line for a 10 that tied the score in this fourth set, a set that could settle the score between two of the elites. That 9 had the wheels turning inside the mind of Tanya Ting, who was facing a woman with no qualms about going for the jugular. And after another 9, Tan was defenseless. Chong Hae-jin in the clover after converting on her final shot to close out the match, her first big win since Sambodromo in Rio. I did well here in Salt Lake City. In the qualification round, I was the top qualifier for the women and the men. It was a good start. And then I finally got into the gold medal final. Now I have it here with me. Everything went well. I'm satisfied with that. To be honest, though, it's too bad that the Longines watch was for the men because I've never won it before. Hopefully, I will get a chance to win it next time. If Chong Hae-jin represents the present for the Korean women, Chae Mi-sun represents the future. The future for Spain, a 20-year-old newcomer ranked 29th in the standings. Alicia Maren won a team medal in Turkey. Now she was on her own against one of the top women on the planet. And Alicia had actually taken a set from Chae Mi-sun. But the sweet taste of success was short-lived. Her first arrow wandered way out on the blue horizon, essentially sealing her fate. Chae Mi-sun took full measure of the situation, hitting the challenger hard as she was going down. Maren moved her sight, and the result, much better. Ms. Chae let up off the gas pedal just a little bit, but never broke character. Instead, the young Spaniard succumbed to the heat, the wind, and the pressure cooker that is a World Cup medal match. A great learning experience for Alicia, who likely took something away from her up-close encounter with the poised and polished Chae Mi-sun, who put the finishing touch on a terrific week in Salt Lake City. Updating the standings, Chae Mi-sun's chances don't look good in the race for Rome. With only 19 World Cup points, she's far behind her two teammates, Chong Hae-jin and Kibo Bae. On the other hand, Alicia Maren is in the running for Rome.
Hi, I'm going to show you how to build a recurve bow. Starting with the visor. This is where you hold the bow and everything else attaches to it. So next we take the limbs. Make sure you put the bottom limb in the bottom and click it in. And then the top limb into the top pocket. The limbs bend when you pull the string back, and that is what puts all the power into the arrow. So we take the string and loop the top of the string over the limb, and then you fit the bottom loop into the groove. To string a bow safely, we use a stringer. Now the stringer goes over the bottom of the bottom limb And then the top end of the stringer goes over the limb. We stand in the middle of the cord, pull the riser so that the limbs bend, and then put the top loop on the bow. Once you have done this, make sure that the string has settled into the limb tips and into the limb groove. Next, we take the sight pin, which attaches to the sight bar. We use the sight pin to aim with. And then the sight bar attaches to the visor. Take the pressure button. The button goes in the back hole here. And comes through here. So the arrow sits on the rest against the button. Finally, we have to attach the stabilizers. So the first part is the V-bar. Attached to the V-bar, we have two side rods. The stabilizers are used to reduce vibration, to hold the bow stable at full draw, and to give the bow forward momentum on execution. And finally, the long rod. Make sure the V-bar is straight. And that is how to build a recurve bow.
Expectations in Brazil sky high for Marcus D'Almeida heading into the Rio Olympics. Probably a bit unrealistic for an archer so young. But D'Almeida's so skilled, he carried his country's hopes and dreams into the Summer Games. Hyung is now being looked at the same way in Taipei. First making a name for himself in mixed team competition, he's beginning to establish his own brand all by himself. We'll spring ahead to the fifth set. Mr. Wei just 1 point away from claiming the bronze medal. Marcus still putting up some resistance, barely missing his mark. D'Almeida's heart, though, must have beaten just a little bit faster when Mr. Wei was way off target on his first attempt. Visions of a possible shoot-off dancing through the minds of both men. It could happen. D'Almeida did win a silver at the 2014 World Cup final, facing Brady Ellison in Lausanne at the tender age of 16. But now, 3 years later in Salt Lake, a pair of nines to open the fifth set weren't going to get it done. The math is simple. Shoot tens when your opponent's shooting nines and you're likely to win. To D'Almeida's credit, Marcus went out in style. Persevering until the very end. And the end came quickly. Wei Chun-heng making those visions of a shoot-off disappear as he dispatches the young Brazilian in 5 sets by a score of 7-3. Now, he just needs to work on his victory celebration. If there was a marquee at the Eastern Archery Center, it would have simply said Im versus Kim. Im Dong-hyun is back, #1 in the world 6 years ago. The gold medalist from the 2008 World Cup final would now face the man ranked #1 at the start of this outdoor season. 6 years younger, Kim Woo-jin had a slightly better win percentage than the man he once looked up to. Bottom line, though, these two icons of Korean archery were evenly matched. Mr. Kim connecting early and often, letting Mr. Im know he'd better be on his A game. And he was. Second shots right on track for Mr. Kim as well as Im. Anybody gonna break? Well, it wouldn't be Mr. Kim, but it would be Mr. Im Dong-hyun, showing a slight crack in the armor. So Kim Woo-jin had the upper hand going into the second set. Things weren't getting better for Im Dong-hyun. A high 9 put him in peril. Kim not about to turn down a gift like that, forging ahead in the set. But all was not lost for Im Dong-hyun, who hit dead center with his next arrow. He wasn't dead in the water. In fact, he was very much alive and kicking after Mr. Kim had one fly high, set tied in 19. But you're only as good as your next shot. And from the looks of things, Im Dong-hyun didn't particularly care for prosperity, putting himself in position to go down 4-zip. But that was up to Kim Woo-jin, who let his teammate off the hook, settling for a split. 3-1 Kim Woo-jin as the shadows grew longer across the battlefield, a battle Mr. Im did not seem destined to win. After dodging a disastrous 8, he had to be relieved when Kim Woo-jin did not cash in. Better arrow, but the bottom line was the same. Given another new lease on life, Im decided to press the issue. So, now the shoe was on the other foot, and it didn't fit Kim Woo-jin, who faltered and fell behind in Act 3. Now Mr. Im could clinch the set and tie the match. All he had to do was dip the tip of his arrow somewhere in the 10 ring, and he just barely did. In archery, a millimeter can be as good as a mile. Im did clinch the set, putting it out of reach for Kim Woo-jin, who had fallen in love with the 9 ring. After 9 arrows, we were right where we started when the match began, all even, nothing settled, the outcome still a toss-up. The big question, could Kim come back? Could he regroup after that third set? He could, and he would, with a dagger down the middle. All of a sudden, momentum seemed to shift. Now it was Im Dong-hyun who looked like he'd lost his touch, certainly losing his way en route to the red zone. But Im got a helping hand from Kim. Now, a 10 from Im would keep him close and keep him in contention. That wasn't the case. The man with 3 Olympic medals was almost putting the set on a silver platter and serving it up to Kim Woo-jin, who may have a killer instinct, but certainly gave his elder more than a few chances to climb back into the match. That 8 could have meant a split, but only if Im Dong-hyun could convert. He'd come up just short. So in spite of that 8, Kim Woo-jin was back on top by 2, needing just another split, just one more point to wrap his hands around the gold medal. The 5th set did not start well for Im. It just did not seem to be in the cards. Kim Woo-jin was dealing, and the deck now seemed to be stacked against Mr. Im. Needing an ace, Im drew another 9, seemingly unable to rally. Kim Woo-jin seemed safe, even after posting another 9 on the board. And safer still, when Im finished his final run without a single shot in the 10 ring. But no one and nothing is safe in this sport. A point proven once again when Kim Woo-jin, needing only 8 to win, sank a 7. A 7! So the duel in the desert boiled down to one shot. Closest to the center takes the spoils. Kim Woo-jin, not all that close. The proverbial door left wide open for Im Dong-hyun. Im, donning sunglasses for the first time all day, could clearly see the path to victory. Those must have been rose-colored glasses. Im Dong-hyun living out a make-believe dream. Like Lazarus in the Bible, he came back from the dead too, resuscitated by a generous teammate who missed on 2 chances to lock up the gold medal. Was it talent, hard work, or just plain old luck that worked its magic for Im Dong-hyun? Come to think of it, it was probably all 3. I thought the match was over before Kim's last arrow. I never thought of having a chance at a shoot-off. I saw that Kim shot a 9, so I thought there was no option for me to shoot a 10, although I did focus on it. Because of the wind, my eyes were watering up a bit, so I had to put my sunglasses on to protect my eyes from the wind. A shoot-off is a one-arrow competition, so it's very difficult to shoot a 10 under pressure. I shot 9, and it was a bit disappointing because my opponent was Im Dong-hyun, who's very strong and able to shoot a 10 at any time. I thought I shot a 10, but it was a 9.9.
10점을 쏠 거라는 생각을 하고 있어서요. 거의 뭐 반쯤 포기하고 있었죠.
The consolation for Kim and Im, they're both basically cementing their spots at the World Cup final in September. It would appear Wei Chun-heng, Jean-Charles, and Brady Ellison can also go ahead and book their flights for Rome. Speaking of the Big E, Brady was working with Mackenzie Brown to lock down the mixed team bronze medal for the US of A. Down by 2 in the fourth set, their prospects didn't look good, but after stringing together a trio of 10s, the world seemed brighter for Brown and for Brady, who ran the table, making it 4 in a row for the Americans, salting this set away. The valiant Alejandra Valencia and her teammate Rodolfo Gonzalez going through the motions, knowing this set was out of reach. If they were going to win this match, they would have to do so in a shoot-off. Leading off, Ellison put one on the top shelf. Good news for Mexico. But then Alejandra put one on the bottom shelf. Bad news for Mexico. Mac Brown about to go downtown. More bad news for Mexico, but Mackenzie's psyched. It would take an X10 to top that shot, and this one wasn't close. Rodolfo takes a detour, winds up wide right, a bitter pill for Mexico to swallow after seeing a 2-point lead slip away. Truth be told, Mexico didn't lose this match as much as the Americans snatched it away. The struggle for mixed team gold, a Far Eastern affair. Korea pairing 2 of its best for this assignment, Chong Hae-jin and Im Dong-hyun. Meanwhile, Tan Ya-ting and Wei Chun-heng got the call for Taipei. The smart money would have been on Taipei after they'd taken the top prize in Shanghai and Antalya. Salt Lake City, though, would prove to be a taller task for those two, who split the first set and then traded the next 2 with Korea for a 3-all tie going to the fourth and deciding set. Im Dong-hyun, trying to read the wind, can't quite get the right bearings. So it's up to Miss Chong to change her team's fortune. No problem. For the woman who rose to prominence in Rio. 19 on the board for Korea. Taipei's turn, and Tan Ya-ting's shot spells trouble for the Chinese team. Mr. Wei's got her back, but the best he can do is pull Taipei back within 1 of the lead. They're going to need some help to pull this match out of the fire. But there was little to be had. At least not from Im Dong-hyun. Mr. Im goes 1 better on his second shot of the fourth set, now trusting his teammate to clinch the match with another 10. That was the plan, but the plan changed when Chong Hae-jin saw her arrow sail high and left. Chinese Taipei still had a chance, but it would take 2 10s to force a shoot-off, which was not meant to be. Try as she might, Tan Ya-ting could not land in the center ring, removing all doubt about the outcome of this match. Wei Chun-heng made a final statement, though, slowly lifting his bow. He delivered a final shot that said a lot about Taipei's team and his nation's place on the world archery stage. The gold medal run had come to an end for Taipei, the most dominant mixed team since Sergio Pagni and Marcello Tonioli were winning almost every gold medal in sight. Now, though, there is a team that can more than challenge Chinese Taipei in mixed team competition. Chong Hae-jin and Im Dong-hyun perhaps becoming the team to beat in Berlin. That being said, Taipei is still atop the leaderboard by a wide margin after the first 3 stages of the 2017 Hyundai World Cup Tour.